Governor, you heard it again, people in there talking about why isn't there a special session? Why not just call a special session and force the debate?
Well, the debate wouldn't happen. The floor would be controlled by Republicans who have made it clear they don't want to have this discussion. And look, this is, you hear, that's a very civil debate in there. They should have been here. They should be here. We continue to ask that. The issue is that once we call the special session, Republicans have said they won't discuss guns. We get no further, and they won't have the conversation. I've simply asked what we've done in all of Minnesota history, have an agreement before we go in. My request was simple. Give us a debate and a floor vote on this. I'll give you the debate and the floor vote on all the things you listed. And just let us have a vote. And they're unwilling to do that. That's all I need them to do is say, you know what, we will come back, we'll let you have a vote. We're going to vote no because it's a bad idea. So be it.
Could it be useful just to have a debate about the issue of whether or not to have a debate?
That's what we're doing right now. They're just not participating in this. You see the folks up there and across the state want us to have this. They know that they're in the wrong. Look, why would you not show up here? Why would you not show up to have this discussion? Like I said, if I'm wrong about this and this will do nothing for public safety, then come and say that. But it's avoiding the debate. Going back in will do nothing. It will bring the legislature back. We still have to have a discussion that these are legislators, many legislators are still traumatized by the murder of Melissa and Mark, want us to do something about guns in the Capitol, and they refuse to do that. So I think we're at a point right now where it's very clear. Republicans don't seem very interested in addressing this issue. They want to talk about everything else except this. And I simply want them to come have this debate.
Are you at the point where it's no longer an option to have a special session?
No, I think it's maybe we're in a better space than we will, because you're hearing from folks here. You're hearing folks talk about this. You're seeing folks that are nonpartisan, if you will, start to talk about this. The conversation is still out there. This is going to be harder and harder to say no to, because look, and I hate to say it, but like you heard the doctor talk about this, statistically odds will have it, this will happen again. Somewhere in the country it'll happen again. God help us all. But I think the longer you wait on this, that the Republican idea that it's just going to go away, it's not going to go away. We've seen it increase 100% in the last 7 years. Now the #1 killer of our children.
We're so close to the regular session. Does it even make sense to have a special session?
Well, I think that'll be the question. We still got time here. That's why we're out. I'll be out more. We'll continue to do this, continue to push. I'll continue to try and negotiate with the Republicans to get this done. But as we move closer to February, then, of course, we'll come back in the regular session. But here's the thing. They're not going to avoid this conversation. In the regular session, we will make sure this will dominate the conversation because they are going to have the debate. The question will still be, at that point in time, will the Republicans be willing to have a vote on this issue?
Your thoughts on the government shutdown? 8 Democrats have now said they will vote to end the shutdown with the promise of a vote on the ACA subsidies. Are you disappointed that some Democrats caved in on this?
Well, look, I know that everybody wants this thing to end. That's a given. Donald Trump created this. Republicans own it because they own all branches. I am disappointed that these 8 didn't get a commitment to get an absolute guarantee of a vote on the ACA subsidies. The chaos that's been created by this is not done. This means it will happen again. We went for 40 days. At this point in time, I think we should have extracted more from them. But look, I recognize this. Donald Trump does not negotiate on things. He's a zero-sum guy that he thinks he's going to get it his way. We're no closer to solving these issues, but what I will say this is, at least our federal employees are going to get paid. We're going to get the SNAP benefits to people. Hopefully we get the airlines back functioning. But this is Donald Trump's making, and all this did was delay it. So yeah, I'm disappointed. I think there could have been a better way out of this. I'm very, very worried that we're not going to get the vote, get the discussion we need, and get it in, keep the law in place for the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And I tell this to Minnesotans, you're seeing these massive increases in insurance. That is still going to happen because nothing got done on that.
Is it possible, though, by forcing a vote, similar to what we're talking about with guns, if they force a vote, might some Republicans feel like they have to vote for it?
Yes, I think that's exactly right. That's the way I would see this. I think they're going to have to because they know the impact it's going to have, especially if you're a rural legislator, and especially if you're in a red state where they're more dependent on it than we are. Yes, I think that's the whole issue here. The question will be is that you got a promise to come back, a pinky promise, if you might be. I'm a little bit skeptical. So we'll see, but yes, that is a possibility, and that's the outcome we're looking for.
Last thing about deer hunting, you were, not to mix my metaphors, but you were skunked.
Yes, I was. We were out. We were a wonderful place down by Cannon Falls. A lot of folks out. We had a successful and safe hunt across the state. The license numbers were within a percentage point or so of what we're used to. And of course, because of the winters, we saw deer populations rebound. So I think what we're hearing so far, preliminary on the first weekend, a lot of folks were successful. I was not, but the time with, friends being out there in the camp, and I think this tradition, and again, shows again the space that we're in. None of that is impacted by what we're talking about on these assault weapons. None of that is threatened at all. And I think that's the bigger issue here. And I'm really pleased to see the folks upstairs talk about this. This really should be a bipartisan issue. It has been in the past. It should be again. There's this kind of dug in that I have to push back on anything dealing with guns because I'm a Republican. That's not the case. You can disagree with every other policy, but agree on this. And I think a lot of folks who are out there hunting probably consider themselves fairly conservative would probably agree. Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.